Well, good evening, all you gorgeous, handsome, oversexed girls and boys. It's Humpty Dumpty time. It is Hump Night, Wednesday, March 4th, 2009, and it is 7 p.m. on the Pacific coast of the lower 48 states. My name is Ace Lundon, and this is the talk show you've been waiting for, Lundon Calling, the internet podcast talk show that could get you high. You could become a pod head. So welcome all of you out there in Podland. Thanks for tuning in. You can listen to this show and all the other shows downloaded, and you can listen to this one Friday nights, midnight, following each of the live shows. Now, I told you my name was Ace Lundon. They also call me the Ace Man. Little kids call me Mr. Wrinkles. And because I'm a part of a large universal family, I'm also called Uncle Ace, Grandpa Ace. Some folks call me Mr. Lundon or Professor. And then there are those very special folks who lovingly refer to me as Ace Hole. Yeah. Pre- and post-show music is provided by Sonic Eccles. More information is provided on our website. And I'm supposed to warn you in advance every show that if you have virgin ears, don't listen, because folks tell me I have a potty mouth and I say some naughty words sometimes. Oh, well, that's life. My co-host, he's really a non-bonger. He's an ice tinkler from Atlanta, Georgia. Lance Helms. Oh, Lancelot, are you there?
I am, Ace. Good evening.
Good evening. Oh, I hear it. Let me toast you. There we go.
We're now officially... I'm good.
Yes,
I was just going to say we're now officially bi-coastal and bi-generational and bi-substance.
And folks, we tell you this each show. So you'll have to remember it. If you don't, I'm going to have to slap you upside the head with my purse. Aristotle said it. It is the mark of an educated mind to be able to entertain a thought without accepting it. And folks, you're going to hear a lot of thoughts on our shows. And you don't have to accept them. Just entertain them. Think about them. Hey, Lance, daylight saving time begins tomorrow. Did you realize that?
That's not true.
Yes, it is. March 5th. Daylight saving time begins tomorrow.
That's not possible.
I know, but they've done it. And that's what it says on the calendar and everything.
You're pulling my leg, right? Because it's Sunday.
No. It says that it's the 5th of March on my calendar. Now, I could be wrong. Folks, you don't have to believe a thing I say. Just entertain the thought. But check it out, okay? Now,
which year are you looking at, Ace?
This year. Yes. Okay. Anyway, folks, you know that I am a strong supporter of the arts, local arts and international arts. And for those of you folks who are listening and live in the area here of what we call the tri-state area, Arizona, California, Nevada, up here in this corner of the world, there is the 8th annual Black Mountain Fine Arts Show at the River Valley Artists Guild Studio, located down there on Highway 95 in Bullhead City. Now, this is coming up on the March 14th through the 21st. Circle those dates and do go down to see this wonderful art show from 9 a.m. to 6 p.m. there in Bullhead City. You have any art shows going down there? You probably do in Atlanta, don't you?
Oh, you can't swing a dead cat without hitting one.
Yeah, well, that's good. It is important. A world without the arts is a world without anything worthwhile. Somebody asked me, they mentioned to me your favorite joke of 2008, and I said, yeah, that was that one where the mother was bathing the little baby in the sink, and the little baby noticed that he had testicles, etc., and he's looking at them, and he asked his mommy, are these my brains, Mommy? And the mommy very, very intelligently told him, no, not yet, honey, not yet. That was my favorite joke of 2008. They said, well, don't you have one for this year yet? And I got to thinking, the one that comes to my mind all the time that I laughed my ass off. When a little boy asked his granny, have you seen my pills, Grandma? They were labeled LSD. And the grandmother replied, fuck the pills. Have you seen the dragons in the kitchen? I love that. I love that one. So that's got to be my favorite for 2009 so far. I saw a sign. Now, I don't know where this was exactly, but it says, welcome to Ontario, where you can marry a fag, but you can't smoke one. Now, that could have been Ontario, California. That sounds like something they'd do. Or it could have been Ontario, Canada. I don't know, But I thought that was a rather interesting sign. You can marry a fag, but you can't smoke one. Mm-hmm. And speaking of Ontario, Canada, we have a guest on the show tonight, Lance, who is from Canada. She's from the Toronto area, and I'd like to introduce her now, and we'll get a chance to talk about what she's doing a little later in the show, etc., but she can join us in some of our little repartee, okay? Sharon Love is her name. She is a psychological consultant who specializes in lesbian, gay, bi, trans, ally relationships and leadership. Sharon Love, are you there in Toronto?
I am, Ace.
Well, welcome to the show, dear. Yes.
Thanks.
You're walking into the lion's den here, but what's
yeah, I know.
Okay, you two. I've heard this. They say that 1 out of 4 are mentally unbalanced. So, Lance and Sharon, I want you, both of you, to think about 3 of your close friends. Do you have them in mind?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, do you think they're okay?
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh. Well then, kids, you're the 1 out of the 4. Oh, dear. I'm sorry.
Says but he's really not.
Well, we lost another wonderful citizen of Arizona this past week. Paul Harvey, at age 90, passed away. And he was a resident here in Arizona. I'd listened to Paul for, I think 50 years on the radio. He certainly was admired as one of the most important conservative newscasters in the United States and around the world. He was beloved by many. So he's going to be missed because that voice of his. Now the rest of the story. So, Paul, you're in heaven, and bless your heart. And also, positive thoughts and prayers are going out tonight for Barbara Bush, who had heart surgery earlier today. I hear she's okay. Had you heard this, guys?
No.
Yeah, she's okay. She was down in Texas, and they say she came out of it okay. But she's 88 years old, so she's a couple of years older than me. And, who knows what goes on. Anyway, kids out there listening, if you're in university studies, etc., you're going to be coming up to spring break. Now, I got something that you better listen to very carefully. I happen to love Mexico. I really do. And I loved it when I was down there and everything. But I am warning you, kids, do not go on spring break to Mexico this year. There have been so many kidnappings and killings and rapes and I don't want this to happen to any of you. So pick someplace else to go. Come on out here to Laughlin, Nevada, or whatever. Go up to Toronto or down to Atlanta, but don't go to Mexico, please, okay? You got to stay safe, Think about it. Think about it. Say, Lance and Sharon, now Sharon, you're in Canada, but Lance, we have another openly gay member of Congress now here in the U.S. Jared Polis from Colorado. And guess what? I think he's probably the richest man in Congress. He's a former entrepreneur in all of this internet stuff and such, and they say he's worth $160 million.
Is that all?
Yeah, that's all. And he already has a mate, so you and I are out of the running, okay? But congratulations to Jared, and we'll be looking forward to hearing from him on things in Congress, which I hope these Congress people better get their butts in gear and make sure that what Obama had promised in getting rid of all these stupid things, that our congressional people hold him to the fire and make him do what he said he was going to do. Now, I don't know how many people heard about this or not, but in San Diego, California, the fire department down there was ordered to march in their gay pride parade that they had. Well, what happened was the fire department got catcalls and awful things happening to them when they were marching in the parade, the gay pride parade. So they sued, and they won. Now, my gay friends out there, sometimes we push the envelope too far, and it brings backlashes. So we have to be thinking about things. Maybe you shouldn't have ordered or had them ordered to march in the gay pride parade, okay? Sharon and Lance, we are all readers. And I'm a strong supporter of newspapers, etc., which are going wiki-wacky these days. A lot of them going out of business. I can't believe it. And magazines going out of business. But what we have to do is at least voice our support. For instance, up in Lakewood, Wisconsin, which is about 70 miles north of Green Bay, I think. It's really up there in the Nicolet National Forest, up there in the Northwoods Pine Country. Carrie Bailey, one of our listeners, has a publication called the Timber News. Now, this is one of those little local publications that actually goes beyond the local area. And anyone listening up in the Wisconsin area, check out the Timber News. She does a great job. It's local stuff, but boy, that's what makes journalism what it should be. It's telling about everything up there. Also, the new issue of Diversity Rules is off the press. And let me look here. Casper Andreas, who is a Swedish filmmaker, etc., is on the front cover. So check out on our website, Diversity Rules, and get a chance to look into the new issue. Have either of you ever been to Laughlin, Nevada, Lance and Sharon?
No, sir.
Nope.
No? Oh, my goodness.
Sorry.
You should be, yes. Everyone goes to Vegas and they think Laughlin's just a little nothing. We don't have any, entertainment. But my God, right now, we've got the Smothers Brothers, B.J. Thomas, Frankie Valli. So, folks, if you're thinking about taking a little vacation, don't be afraid to take it and come to Laughlin and Bullhead City. Well, there's not much going on in Bullhead City, but Laughlin has got some good things going on over there. And we do support one another.
So are you offering to host us there?
Well, I'd be the hostess with the most if I did go over there. The most what we don't know. Are both of you familiar with Campus Pride?
Yes, sir.
No.
You're not? Well, does Campus Pride go up into Canada at all? I don't know.
Haven't heard of that. No.
Campus Pride is the leading national nonprofit organization for student leaders and campus organizations working to create safer and more LGBT-friendly colleges and universities. And it exists to give voice and action in building future LGBT and ally leaders. And if you want more information on this, folks, to see what Campus Pride is doing, check out our website, and we have a link there for you. Yeah. You've heard of this Madoff fellow, both of you?
Oh, yes.
Have you heard of him up there?
No.
Bernie Madoff?
Goodness. You've been spared.
Are you kidding, Sharon?
I don't have time for the news, honestly.
Oh. Well, Bernie Madoff is this guy that had this Ponzi scheme, which, of course, will affect Canada as well. And, God, I don't know how many billions of dollars he screwed everybody out of. And now his wife, Ruth, says that she should be allowed to keep their $7 million apartment and the $62 million that she's got stashed away someplace. Come on, Ruth. She says that she didn't know her husband was doing this. She worked in the office with him. She was his wife for years and years. Don't tell me, Ruth, that you didn't know that your husband was doing this. Somebody ought to stick a firecracker up your you-know-what, Ruth, and light it.
Let nostril, you meant to say?
Yes, and folks, let's hope. Hey, let's hope that somehow or other the law doesn't allow her to have all of that money, which really belongs to the people that got screwed with this Ponzi scheme. Sharon, you're involved with so much in the field of psychology, et cetera, et cetera. But what do you think about this idea? Maybe giving parents an aptitude test to see whether or not they should even be parents.
Wow. That's controversial. It definitely would have its... Yeah, definitely clear pros and cons on that one. Sometimes I think I wish they did do that.
Have you looked around and seen all the stupidos? All you have to do is check into that Jay Leno show and see his jaywalking, and he's asking these young people, and some of them not even so young, they're in their 30s and 40s, etc., questions that an 8th grader should know the answers to, and they don't. And you say, what in the hell is going on? Didn't they have parents to guide them or teach them? So maybe those parents shouldn't have had all those stupid kids. I don't know. But it's a thought.
I was thinking more along the lines of emotional intelligence. I would like to see parents who actually can, relate to their kids and bring them up with respect and that kind of thing, as opposed to, if they have their head full of facts, that's nice, but it's not as important as the emotional connection.
Well, you're probably very correct there. Yes, that's for sure. Do you have a dog, Sharon?
Nope.
Now, Lance has a dog, and you heard my little one bark at, some ghost outside here just a moment ago. Well, yesterday I was buying a bag of Purina dog chow at Walmart for my little Honey, my wonder dog. And as I was checking out, a woman behind me asked if I had a dog. I looked at her and I thought, what in the hell did she think? I have an elephant? Well, since I'm retired and I got a little spare time in my hand from time to time, on impulse, I told her, no, I didn't have a dog, but I was starting on my Purina diet again. Yep. Although I probably shouldn't, because I ended up in the hospital the last time I was on the diet, I told her, but that I'd lost 50 pounds before I woke up in an intensive care ward with tubes coming out of my orifices and IVs in both arms. And I told her that it was essentially a perfect diet and that the way it works is to load your pants pockets with Purina nuggets and simply eat one or two every time you feel hungry, and that the food is nutritionally complete. And so I was going to try it again. Now, I've got to mention to you that practically everyone in the line was by now enthralled with this story I was telling this.
You might start a trend.
Yeah, I'm horrified. She asked if I ended up in intensive care because the dog food poisoned me. I told her no. I stepped off a curb to sniff an Irish setter's ass and a car hit us both. Well, I thought the guy behind her was going to have a heart attack, and he was laughing so hard. Walmart won't let me shop there anymore now. But, folks, you just better be careful when you ask retired old people, questions like, oh, do you have a dog? When we're buying dog food, because we have all the time in the world to think about crazy things to say back to you, okay? So that means that I'm not quite mentally stable, Sharon, but that's life in the small city.
Thanks for a more interesting show.
Now.
Ooh, the Campus Pride link on our website.
Yeah, well, I thought it was up on the website.
It's up for sure.
Yeah, well, now it might be up twice, but that's all right. Yeah. Okay, Lance, you asked me, I think 2 shows ago, about one of these, things that are on Facebook, those 25 things, and you mentioned coming out of my gay closet was my most difficult experience in life, because I had it listed that way. Remember that?
So hard to imagine now.
Yeah, it is. But I've been thinking about that, and I need to just add a little bit to that, because I sometimes wonder if coming out, maybe we are coming out from the very first time we actually realize that we're queer. And that's why it is such a difficult experience. It's a secret life that we've ended up living. Mine really started with being blackmailed because I was queer. Then I went from that to this whole notion, this is back in the 50s, that you can be cured, And because of the rough times that one goes through in this process, sometimes you turn to religion, and so I turned to religion and had a born-again experience, etc. Went on for a degree in theology, experienced almost 3 years of being celibate. Now, this is all part of the coming out process. Ended up getting married because, after all, you could be cured, and that type of thing. But during the marriage, there's the suffocation of the real self. And what does that lead to? Divorce. Oh, my God, divorce. That was rough. And divorce led me to finally make the statement of, I am queer. Then came potentially suicide. And I thought, well, let's end it all. This is just too much crap, Managed out of that one. Of course, my oldest kid will probably have to live with that memory also for a while, all his life probably. And then I finally decided to come all the way out of the closet and let everybody know. Of course, that took care of a number of my family members and friends who no longer wanted to be acquainted with me. But I was free. I was free. I might have been broke and homeless, but I was free. Coming out of a closet is not an easy task for anyone. It certainly wasn't for me. But at age 40, I was free. Of course, once you do come out sometimes, and I know that a lot of you young gay and lesbians out there, then you go sexually hog wild after you're finally out. That freedom is just almost too much for you to handle. Oh, yeah, I'm in that same boat. Mm-hmm. And then I finally went into becoming an activist. And that took up so much of my time, I didn't have so much time to be hog wild. But coming out of your closet. Now, Sharon, you're dealing with people that are coming out of their closets, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. As well as a number that have been out for many years, too.
Yeah.
But it is, like you say, it's an ongoing process. It never really stops.
Mm-hmm. So how about kind of filling us in a little bit on what you are doing up there in Toronto that reaches out nationally and maybe even internationally?
Sure. My focus is mostly on creating great relationships. So sometimes these are people who are newly out, but often it's people who've been out for a number of years. And I work with LGBTA, so the lesbian, gay, bisexual, trans, and allies. So anybody who's friendly, basically. But I specialize in working with LGBT couples, because that's what I'm most familiar with. So I just actually recently finished a book which is called Discover Your Natural Brilliance, this first secret of creating great relationships. And that has that then turned into an e-course, which is available on the website, which is proudawards.com. People can also go
Hold on. Let me say that again. Proudawards.com, folks.
That's right.
Yeah, okay,
is it
we'll put
.net or is it both? Oh, sorry.
It's proudawards.com.
I'm thinking proudofyou.net. I'm ahead of you, sorry.
Okay. Yeah, there's a number of different ways to get to the same site. It's called, you'll see the word Succeed Inc. at the top, and Succeed Inc. is also a way to get to the site, but people hear that wrong. They say 6 feet Inc. I say, no, it's like succeeding, but with a C at the end. So I gave up on that one eventually. And then I had somebody introduce me one time, he said, with a very heavy accent. And when I first started my business, it was Wild Dreams in Motion. And I had this one guy call me up and he said, oh, when you look at the title on the internet, it's all run together like one word. He said, oh, he said, Dreams Sin Motion. Oh, that's such a turn on. And then when I thought, when I went to, and then my last name is Love, Sharon Love. So I like to play with that. I'm Sharon Love all the time. And I even had my phone number, 416-693-LOVE. And I made the mistake of letting people know that number without giving a whole lot of explanation about what I did. I got some pretty strange phone calls.
I'll bet.
I had to tell them it's not that kind of love and hang up on them. So, so I thought Succeed Inc. Okay, that's really nice and clear. I can cover off I do some corporate training as well on building great business relationships. So I thought, okay, Succeed Inc. I'm safe. I'm finally safe with Succeed Inc. Then I had this guy introduce me when I was giving a talk at Toastmasters Club. He said, Sharon Love, he had a very strong accent. Sharon Love is from Sexy Dink.
Sexy Dink.
So I gave up. I went Proud Awards. I don't think you can mess with that. So, yeah. So that's what I do. I work with individuals and occasionally with couples as well, helping them to learn the 5 secrets of creating great relationships and to put that into practice in their relationships, and have helped a number of couples who are going through very rocky periods, who were either on the verge of breaking up or had just broken up, but there was still a lot of love there. And I worked with them to help them to reconnect and rebuild that bridge, take down those walls and turn them into bridges.
Okay, Sharon, let me ask you this now. What would be the best way for one of our listeners or any of our listeners to actually get in touch with you, and what could they expect when they do get in touch with you?
Well, I would say going to the website, theproudawards.com, would be probably the best way, because there'll be some more information there. If you look at the top left-hand corner there, it talks about discover your natural brilliance. And I really do find that that is the core. That is the most important secret out of them all, is that when you really, and I know it's almost a cliche, when you love yourself, that's when you can love another human being. And a lot of people talk about that, but I've spent 20 years doing research on how do you love yourself? It's a nice theory, but, like you spoke of it yourself, suicide is a very common thing in our community. A lot of us have faced all kinds of discrimination. We've lost family, we've lost friends, we've lost jobs to coming out a lot of the time. And it's not an easy thing to love yourself when the whole world is, not the whole world, but, when you get that amount of prejudice thrown your way, it can be really, really tough. So that's where I usually will start with people, and especially working with them individually.
That is really the core, Sharon. That's it. You're hitting it. You're hitting it right on. It's like I love myself with all of my ugliness and all of my beauty, and I'm not ashamed of it anymore. And that's what we have to learn to be, unashamed of who we are in all of our totality. Like I love Lance. I mean, he might be ugly as sin,
You're bad.
but I do love him. So this is good. Sharon, thank you. Now, folks, get in touch with her. Now, is there well, you're in psychology and such. I'm sure that this is like a class. Will it cost, etc., and things like that? Or do you have counseling sessions? I don't know. Tell me all about it.
Okay, sure. There's an e-course that, as I mentioned, is just finished. I've just finished writing it, and it's a PDF. So it's normally $460, but for the listeners on the show, because I love what you're up to, Ace, and understand that this grew through friends and friends of friends of friends of yours. So in order to support our community, I'm giving all the listeners tonight the code for a $450 gift certificate towards anything that they want. So if that be the course, or that be the coaching session, or a series of coaching sessions that are either in person or over the phone or over Skype, this one word is worth $450 to you when you go to my website. And here it is. You ready?
I am ready.
Friendly.
Friendly.
So if you're friendly to the LGBTA community, then use the word friendly and get $450 off anything from the Discover Your Natural Brilliance part of the Proud Awards website. And that's my gift to the community this week.
And it's wonderful. It is wonderful. Thank you, Sharon. And folks, take advantage of this, okay? This is, this crazy show, sure, we fool around, we kid around, we have a lot of fun. But basically, I keep hoping that you'll get little sparks of, little gems from, every once in a while that'll make something in your life so much better, because that's what we're here for, to help one another. And sometimes we do it through comedy or humor, and sometimes we do it through lectures or whatever. So this is what we're all about. And Sharon, bless your heart. Thank you. I won't have to slap you.
Thank you so much.
I won't have to slap my purse, that's for sure.
I love that. I've got your quote in the course, by the way, and I've actually, there's a number of different exercises for people to do, and I can tell you some if you like. And then I've interspersed it with a whole bunch of fun quotes or deep quotes or quotes from Obama. When he was first. When in his first acceptance speech, I don't know if you heard it, but he was mentioning like a community in that speech.
Mm-hmm,
So I've got
remember.
quotes like that. Yeah, that was really inspiring. And he had another quote and something that he had said earlier, which was something to the effect of, and I'd have to go back and double check exactly the exact wording, but he said, sometimes fear can cloud our vision, and then we start scapegoating gays and people who aren't like us because our lives aren't going well. So there's a whole series of quotes and very supportive quotes from P. Flag and quotes from Archbishop Desmond Tutu, and then a lot of fun quotes and things like that. They just kind of keep it inspiring and light. And I mean, my own story was one of very similar to yours, Ace, where when I first started, actually before I even came out, there was no such thing as a lesbian when I was in high school. That was a name that you called someone, and they would make the face,
Yeah,
gay, like that, and that was really all it was.
Had the word gay begun to be used then? Because gay wasn't really a word meaning homosexual until 1969. Oh, you're young. My goodness, yes.
69 was a very good year, let me put it this way. Yeah.
My favorite number.
It's good for a number of reasons.
Yes.
I was also conceived in that year, so. Or no, wait, I was, yeah. So it was a pretty strange time to be starting to recognize that I would be walking down the hall, and there were a couple of girls that when they walked down the hall, I would feel myself turning red, and I had no idea why. I was clueless. I was called the kid who can't even talk, and was almost mute. I was so painfully shy and had no self-confidence at all, like none. But real passion for people, really wanted to get out of that shell. And eventually I went to university, did the master's in psychology, and started practicing some of what's in the book. And eventually then later went on and started to give talks. And now I've done talks to thousands of people from around the world in Spanish, French, and English. So
this is inspiring, Sharon, because I'm sure there are a lot of people, both straight and gay and lesbian, that they're shy and they think they'll never do anything or something like that. But by God, you can definitely prove to be much, much more than you ever dreamed you could be if you just take the steps forward one at a time.
Mm-hmm. And it's all about knowing what your own strengths are and building from that. You have to start somewhere. And so I often will say, look at, what are your proudest moments? What were the 10 proudest points in your life? I was doing a coaching session with someone today and did this exercise with her. Just got her to list them all. And then after that, I said, okay, so let's go back. And I've written these things down. And out of each of those, what were some of the strengths that you can see? And all of a sudden she said, oh, yeah. Yeah. And she started seeing the strengths in herself that she hadn't even seen before. So I made a list based on that. And we worked with that and came up with some affirmations and declarations and visualization and, some of those kinds of things. But that's just one of about 20 or 30 exercises that I'll teach people. And the key thing really, a lot of the time in our community, it's all about getting over prejudice, which, by the way, is defined as homophobia, the irrational fear that 3 fags will break into your house and redecorate it against your will.
That's a big fear. By the way, what you were saying sort of reminds me of our shy little Lancelot. He was a bookworm as a kid. That's what I found out about him, weren't you, Lance?
You're calling me out. Ace is referring to my 25 Deepest Secrets post on Facebook. And and in that, I revealed, even though I'm very quiet on this particular episode because you're a wonderful guest, and I'm just sitting here listening and loving it, I'm a natural extrovert, but didn't know that growing up. So I'm really responding to your personal story because that's how I grew up. I was the shy kid who didn't think he was social, didn't really think he had anything to offer anyone, et cetera, et cetera. And then after I came out, I did – the first clue was I did the Myers-Briggs inventory, and it revealed that I'm basically a party animal. The Myers-Briggs.
And this is when you were shy?
What's that?
This is back when you were still acting shy.
Well, actually, I had done the Myers-Briggs back when I was still in the closet. I was an adult. I was 21 or 22, and came out with a completely opposite result from the one that I got about 3 years later after I came out and did it again, and did it from a place of, it sounds corny, but I did it from a place of honesty. The person who administered it to me the second time said, you really need to just kind of go with what your initial response is to each of these questions. And if it feels right, just go for it and just get through it quickly. Don't think about it. Go with your instincts. And then afterward, it revealed me to be this really extroverted, people-driven, outwardly focused person. And I said, reading this description, this feels really right. And I said, you're going to laugh, but this is the type that I sort of typed as, before I came out. And he said, well, you probably were mimicking the exact opposite of who you really were because you just had a really big mask on. So that was so revealing for me.
Well, Lance, was this before or after you became a champion clogger? I couldn't believe you have been a clogger.
That was back during my shy and introverted days. I know it's hard to imagine being on being on television in brightly colored outfits and performing for strangers. I know it's hard to imagine, but
yeah. I love clogging. I love to watch cloggers.
Are you laughing at the idea that I thought I was closeted and I was dancing around?
Yeah.
Colored outfits. I really should resurrect. I'm going to have to resurrect some of those old pictures and scan them and stick them on the web so people can look and see. It was the gayest thing. What'd you say, Sharon?
I've got to see that.
Oh my gosh, it was just insane. But it was good times.
The real you was totally stuck in the closet then. So and even in the test, it completely changed after you came out. Is that what you're saying?
I remember when I did the Myers-Briggs inventory as a closeted adult, and I remember answering the questions from the perspective. I remember this feeling so clearly of what I should be. Oh. And yeah, it was really wild. It was wild. And here's the even crazier thing. Of course, after I did it the second time, the real time, and got the right result, I immediately sent it home to my mother and was like, you've got to do this. I'm dying to know what you are. And she did it, and she told me her type. And I said, gosh, that's not how I see you at all. And she said, I knew that's what you would say. And so we had been living an opposite experience. And the irony of it all is, her true type was the type I had been mimicking when I was in the closet. So I had a role model, and it was my complete opposite.
You were in military school too. This kind of blew me away.
Well, and my fake type, my closeted type, is ideal for military settings because it's a type that understands rules and systems and revels in the administration of those rules and systems. It's the type that is most commonly associated with bankers, judges, police officers, military personnel, etc. So I had a lot of reinforcement. I knew exactly how to sort of play that type. And now I am my true freewheeling, impractical, almost worthless party animal self. Completely not directed.
Congratulations.
Yeah, living the dream, living into my true potential as an unfocused.
But you don't want to go to a Madonna concert, Lance? What is this? You're gay and not a Madonna fan?
He's literally reading my 25 things from Facebook.
Okay. That's gay sacrilegious.
I know it's gay sacrilege. Well, I think I'm just revealing that there's there's a stereotypical lesbian very deep inside me just dying to come out. And what I put in the Facebook thing was that what did I put, Ace? That I really just kind of don't. I'm indifferent. It's not that I don't care. I mean, Madonna makes great music, but I'm just indifferent to her. Kind of the way I'm indifferent to any artist I'm not really following, and have never been to a Madonna concert. So it's like, a priest who's never been to church. I don't know. It's just odd. It's very strange, but there it is.
Sharon, if you could have been anything you wanted to be when you were growing up, what is it? What you ended up being now?
I did want to become involved in psychology. That was something I've always been interested in, and wanted to be involved in education, which is, I do coaching and consulting, so it's a combination of education and psychology. So yes, and the next thing that looks like it's on the agenda is to get involved in film and television.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Well, I thought.
Yes.
I thought that Lance would probably go from clogging to tutus, but he didn't.
Well, Ace, I'm still young. I have half my life ahead of me, at least.
Oh, that's true. That's true. You do.
That's true. Never say never.
Everything
is possible.
Everything is possible. And if I've proven anything, it's that you can change directions on a dime.
Unleash the inner ballerina.
Unleash the inner. Now, Sharon, you're also, the way I know you is through Facebook. You are very active on Facebook. And I noticed you had posted sort of a virtual event, Discover Your Natural Brilliance, which was the thing you were just telling us about. And when you first found me on Facebook, I remember you promoting the Pride Awards, the Proud Awards, and that you had also started a group called ALPE, Association of...
That's right.
What was it?
Association of Leaders for Pride and Equality, ALP International.
Yes.
Together we are reaching new heights. I love acronyms.
How's all that going? How's it going?
It's really coming along. It's quite exciting. We've there's been two groups that have grown out of some of those other groups that have taken off and are huge now. They have roughly 3,000 people each. And one of them, one of them is called Declare UN Human Rights for all Sexual Orientations. And actually, if people want to go to the website, they can sign up there. There's a place to fill in a petition if they go to the website, and it's under the Discover Your Natural Brilliance section. And that is all about changing the UN Declaration of Human Rights, because you can't have racism, you can't have sexism, you can't have ableism, and all those things are in most human rights code. We're not in there. And there are 7 countries in the world where you can be killed for being gay.
Yeah, we've talked about that.
Had a lot of people, we've had a lot of people joining up and signing the petition, and I'm talking with people at Pride Toronto about making this part of our Pride event, and I'd love to see that going internationally. I think we need to start educating people. I'd like to start some videos on YouTube where people are talking about the importance of having equality in the UN Declaration of Human Rights.
Absolutely.
Hey, I got to interrupt you here because our time is getting pretty slim. And folks, which we've been talking about checking into the websites and seeing how you can link onto different things. Go to our website. Look at the folks that are supporting the show. And by the way, I got to tell you this. If you send a little gift and donation to the show, I thank you in advance. It is most important because basically that's the only way that we're going to be able to keep this show going. So thank you in advance, and all you do is click in and go onto that PayPal thing, or you can actually send a little check or whatever, Every little bit will help because we're in rough times now, everyone is. And so we've got to help one another, and that's the way we'll keep going. So thank you for your gifts, and check out the commercials. We've got 3 different sponsors there that are wonderful. We've got the link that'll take you to our man, our Spider-Man, and if you need a site created for yourself, this is who you should go to. Believe me, he'll do a great job, just like he's done on our site. And then there's the wonderful Faith Chapel down in Atlanta. So those of you who are in that area on, I guess it's every Sunday, you meet outside. You've been in rain and such, though, and you even had snow down there, Lance. Did you go in the snow?
Well, we did. It was still raining when we met. It didn't snow until about midway through the service.
Oh, my God. Anyway, that is on our site. Check into it. And
not only that, we just...
If you want to clean up your act, check into that soap that's listed, I tell you. Okay. Now, let's see. Where are we? Well, let's see. Lance just somehow or other got clicked off. So, Sharon, it's you and I here. We're holding the fort down. Or as my uncle used to say with the accent, he'd say, instead of fark, he'd say fork, he'd say fark. And we always had problems with him and fork and fark and forked and all of that. So Lance will be checking in again.
Oh, I'm back. I don't know what happens. I don't remember kicking.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, folks, now you and I both, or we all know that the new president, all he can do is veto legislation, and he is not in control of either the House or the Senate. So, folks, it is going to be up to all of us to make sure that we let him know our desires. He has got to look over this crazy thing that is just full of all of these stupid things that the Congress people from the last session have put in this bill, and it's just filled with them. Somehow or other, and I hear that he's going to sign this sucker. Well, we have got to keep on his ass and ride, because otherwise he's not going to know what we want, So pay attention, folks. What's happening out there? Okay.
By the way, the thing I was on the verge of announcing right before I tripped the cord and cut myself off is that Mike, our ever-capable Spider-Man webmaster and producer, has already posted a link to the Proud Awards. It's on the staff links part of our website, Lundon-calling.net. And right under Campus Pride, there's the Proud Awards.
Okay.
Yeah.
Thanks, Mike.
Spider-Man's on the ball. Yes, he is. Mm-hmm. We don't know what ball, but he's on it.
Oh, wow. And if you go to our sponsors page, the Proud Awards is there as well, along with Diversity Rules, Belle Sapone Handcrafted Soap Emporium, and Gentle Spirit Christian Church.
Excellent.
And Eclectic Resources. Yay, we have 5 sponsors.
Well, that's what they're called, yes, and that's what they are. They are behind us, and thank goodness for them.
I felt something.
What did you feel?
You said they're behind us. I said...
Get your hands out of your pockets, Lance.
Okay. Oh, it's just Sharon. Okay. That's cool.
Oh, Sharon. What are you going to do?
What am I supposed to be doing now?
What's that?
What am I supposedly doing right now?
Well, Ace just said that we had 5 sponsors behind us, and I said I felt something.
Okay, gotcha.
Now, I don't feel like we're really taking true advantage of the bi-nationality of this usually bi-coastal, bi-generational, and bi-substance abusing show. So, Sharon, what's it like to be on the on the other side of the Great Divide and be looking into the American aquarium and seeing us all consumed with Barack Obama, consumed with the drama in California over the state Supreme Court about to hear what for us would be, if they go the right way, the most important marriage equality decision for our people, for our generation. What's the view from there? What's going on in Canada? I think we're typically ignorant of what the parallels might be.
I was actually really lucky to just do an interview recently for my very first baby piece for the documentary with Reverend Dr. Brent Hawkes, who was the guy in Canada who did the equivalent, I guess, of overturning Prop 8. Is that the equivalent? Okay. So he risked his life. He put his life on the line in spite of death threats, saying blood will flow if you do this. He put his life on the line. He wore a bulletproof vest, and he stood up there and he legalized same-sex marriage. And he actually ran the first legal same-sex marriages in Canada. So he's a very inspiring guy, and I'd like people in the States to take a look at what he's done and be able to draw inspiration from that. He talks a lot about focusing on the positive. Reverend Dr. Brent Hawkes. Hawkes. He's from MCCT, which is the Metropolitan Community Church in Toronto. Okay. So, hey, I would love to see everybody, all the queers, I don't know, immigrate to Canada or something. If you want to get married, you're free to here. It's really fun. I'm hoping that that's gonna spread. And yes, you know what? We're just as obsessed with Obama up here. We love him.
Oh, really? Fantastic.
Oh yeah, I mean, I've been following him, and I've been reading his book on Audacity of Hope, and he's going to be one of the key ones that to highlight in the documentary that we're working on as well.
Fantastic. Well, we have about 3 minutes left in the show, so if I don't get the opportunity before the end of the show, I want to say thank you very much for being a guest. It's been wonderful.
Yes.
Well, thank you for having me.
I agree, Sharon. And folks, check into what Sharon is doing up there. Now, folks, I grew up with practical grandparents who had been frightened by the Great Depression in the 1930s. My mother, God love her, also washed aluminum foil after she cooked in it. Or we had a maid, and she made the maid do it. And they reused it. I guess she was like the original recycle queen before they had a name for it. A father who was happier getting old shoes fixed than buying new ones. Their marriage was good. Their dreams were focused. Best friends of the family lived barely a wave away on local farms. And I can see them now in my mind's eye, Dad in his trousers and his hat, because he always wore a hat to cover his bald head. Mom in a house dress and a dish towel in the other hand. It was time always for fixing things: curtain rods, kitchen radios, screen doors, oven doors, hemming the dress, things we keep. It was a way of life, and sometimes it did make me crazy as a young man. All that repairing, eating, and reusing, and I wanted just once to be wasteful. Waste meant affluence, throwing things away. Throwing things away meant you knew there'd always be more. And yet, on that June day a few years back when my mother died, in the warmth of the hospital room, I was struck with the pain of remembering and learning that sometimes there isn't any more. Sometimes what we care about most gets all used up and goes away, never to return. So while we have it, it's best we love it and care for it and fix it when it's broken and heal it when it's sick. This is true for marriage, old cars, children with bad report cards, dogs and cats with bad hips, aging parents and grandparents. We keep them because they're worth it, because we are worth it. Some things we keep, like a best friend that moved away or a classmate we grew up with. There are some things that make life important, like people we know who are special. And so we keep them close. We better keep them close. And especially in hard times, there is no one more important than those people who count in our lives, and we keep them close. That's why we give them a call. That's why we write them a note. And folks, that's why we have this show. And it's time for us to go. Thank you, Sharon. Lance, bless your cotton-picking heart. I love you. Okay.
Bless you.
Bless you, Ace. Thank you so much.
Okay, good night, folks.
Night, everyone.
Night.
Okay.
So I'm sitting here looking at the Brent Hawks entry on Wikipedia, which I just sent to each of you on Facebook.